In the year before Troy Nall died, he grew convinced that the government had somehow infiltrated his brain, and in a way, he was right. So let's be honest, man. The NFL dudes are having the same problem, man. NFL guys, bobsled guys, some of the skiers, they're all having problems with traumatic brain injury, TBI, CTE. Welcome, folks. Jake Zweig, United States Naval Academy, Navy SEAL, Surface Warfare Officer, University of Michigan MBA, 15-year Division I football coach, mentoring some of the country's finest individuals over the last 25 years. Enjoy. Today, we got a good one, man. I'm very privy to the boat stuff. I grew up in a boat in the Pacific Northwest, and it's shocking to me that it's just now coming out how much damage the boat guys are taking. Here, we're going to talk about chronic brain trauma is extensive in the Navy's elite speedboat crews. The pounding that the sailors' brains take from years of high-speed wave slamming in special boat teams can cause symptoms and wreck their careers and their lives. Obviously, the NFL is dealing with CTE in a major way. This is no different. I liken it directly to bobsledding. The bobsledders are only allowed to do so many runs due to the incredible G-forces they're taking. Early in the boat's development, they used to have them seated in captain's chairs, and everybody was blowing out their backs. So, now that they're coming to the brain trauma, having taken many 8+ hour rides in everything from a Mark V, which is a large boat, all the way down to the 24-foot ribs. My solution was to lay on the floor to kind of alleviate and spread that pounding across your whole body. But I absolutely can see how the brain's trauma is just getting concussed over and over and over. Go through it. I'll give you my insight. Man, the New York Times got it out for the Navy SEALs. Let me tell y'all something, man. This life you live as a warrior in the 21st century is not what people expect. I don't know what they expect to get out of this, but they keep hammering everybody in the community and special operations. I'm just here to tell you, man, if you don't want warriors protecting the country, let us know. We'll deport you to some other country. That's just the facts, man. Look, the job is dangerous. I tell everybody, anytime they're shooting bullets and bullets are going both ways and you're out in the ocean and you got crazy stuff going on, death is a possibility. With death comes the possibility of harm. So the fact that the boat guys are getting beaten up, yeah, absolutely, it's terrible. I don't know what to tell you, man. Got to ride boats for insertion. You got to ride boats for infiltration. Sometimes that's what's going to happen, man. You figure out how to design a boat that doesn't take a pounding, maybe a hydrofoil. Maybe they break out some of them spaceships so we can just directly insert without any noise at all. You tell me. But New York Times, my man Dave Phillips, once again, we're doing another Dave Phillips review. You killing it, Dave. Hey, man, reach out to me, man. I'd love to talk to you one-on-one, get you on my channel, talk about what you're doing as a reporter, how you feel it's helping the country and everything else, man. Let's talk. In the year before Troy Nall died, he grew convinced that the government had somehow infiltrated his brain, and in a way, he was right. So let's be honest, man. The NFL dudes are having the same problem, man. NFL guys, bobsled guys, some of the skiers, they're all having problems with traumatic brain injury, TBI, CTE. It's coming out, folks. Like you got to be good to your brain, or you end up like me, having to do 45 minutes of brain health every day just to maintain semblance of a human being and be able to function. The 44-year-old was a rising star in the Navy Special Boat Unit, an elite group of stealth speedboat crews who can race over rough seas at 60 miles an hour to deliver Navy SEALs to their target. So they're talking about, if they're running the speedboats, talking about Dev Group crews. I've worked with those dudes a ton. When I was on the ship, they would board our ship every time we pulled out of port. Them dudes are coming in fast, some of the best coxswain in the world. Them dudes are driving them boats now. They getting it. But after years of pounding across waves, he was barely able to function. He grew forgetful and confused. Absolutely, man. That's the brain, okay? He struggled with insomnia, alcohol abuse, and rage. Seeing the common things out of vets, man. I'll say this again. You guys know I got the brain health PDF. Reach out to me, man. I'll email it to you. It's changed my life. It's free. Everything in there is doable on a daily basis. None of it's expensive. You can get world-class treatment in your own house for pennies on the dollar, and it ain't costing you nothing, man. You'll be able to function. So all you guys out there struggling with brain health, you're having problems with what he's saying, insomnia, alcohol abuse, rage, just reach out, man. I got a solution for you, man. It's awesome. On a training trip, he smashed a rearview mirror and started cutting his chest with the glass. Okay, so we got some wild behavior happening. Should send alert flags up the chain of command. He got a problem, man. And I know they're seeing it with the SEALs. You know, we haven't had any actual combat in a long while. 5 years, so we got a bunch of new dudes in the teams. But the whole deal is at 42, man, this is straight from the Cleveland Clinic. At 42 years old, your lungs are unable to process oxygen efficiently enough to keep the oxygen supply in your blood high enough to repair your brain every night. So you start seeing a cascade effect. Day over day, you get a little bit worse, a little bit worse. Normally, the symptoms start manifesting pretty heavy around 45, 47 years old, and that's straight from the Cleveland Clinic Functional Health Department. He was forced to medically retire in 2017 after 12 years in uniform. As a civilian, he grew delusional and paranoid and started to believe the government had bugged his phone, then his kitchen walls, finally his own skull. So listen, man, we dealing with heavy CTE here, man. This is a prime example of CTE. All the telltale signs are there. Well, hell, they ain't telltale. They flat out right in front of your face. There's only a little piece of me left, he told a neighbor in 2021, tapping his head. They got the rest. So he's going down that dark alley, man. A few days later, he was found dead of a self-inflicted gun wound in a field near his home in San Diego suburbs, man. Once again, I'm going to argue that suicide is directly related to CTE, which is directly related to your brain, obviously CTE. You got to get help. Reach out, man. I got a PDF. Like, you guys are going to be shocked, man. The PDF, whole bunch of functional, easy stuff on the PDF to help your brain health. An autopsy revealed that his brain was riddled with CTE, exactly what I said, man. A progressive disease often associated with football players who suffer repeated blows to the head. I'm going to tell you the other huge group is them downhill bobsledders, man. They getting their brains rocked also. A Defense Department neurologist who analyzed samples of Mr. Novell's brain wrote that his CTE probably came from years of impact with the waves. The other place it comes from is the sympathetic detonation of ammunition. So the ammunition's frequency of explosion makes micro tears in your brain. All the boat guys got a ton of time on guns, man. They do. Not as much as a Navy SEAL, but they've got a lot. Here's boat guys, man. They working them guns, man. Working them guns. Yep. So that's another factor to throw into this article where they're getting this CTE from. The neurologist alerted the Navy that other sailors and special boat teams might face the same risk. Absolutely, they facing the same risk. As if to underline the point, 6 weeks after Mr. Novell's death, another boat team member in the grips of paranoid delusion, Travis Carter, 33, died of suicide a few miles away. So being from Washington State, I'm very familiar with suicide. A lot of times suicide runs in threes. Someone sees someone else do it. They see what happens. They think that's the answer. Hey, suicide's never the answer, folks. Call the hotline. Get out there, get some help, man. Like, get some help. 811 for the suicide hotline. I'm telling you, reach out to me, get the brain PDF. You're going to be amazed at what's on there, man. It's simple stuff. Nootropics, lion's mane mushroom, Arturi gummies, live O2 machine. You can make it yourself for $300 and get a 90-minute hyperbaric ride twice a day. And trust me, it'll fix your brain, man. It'll bring you back to 25. You just got to stay on it, man. So we got some solutions out there. So all the vets out there struggling with brain health, paranoia, insomnia, reach out, brother. I got a solution for you. Seeking an edge in combat, the Navy has created boats so powerful that riding in them can destroy sailors' brains, several former enlisted members of the boat team said. Okay, let's be honest. They run in cigar boats. Yes, they're powerful. Yes, they go fast. We're trying to get the operators inserted as fast as possible from as long as distance as possible, but they're also airdrop capable. So they're dropping them out of C5s. Them dudes are parachuting in. Go look at the Captain Phillips raid. These guys doing this job, man. They throwing boats out of planes, and they're going to go out after them. You know, them dudes arrive with speedboats, okay? So it's part of the business. Just like you tell me, hey, we got to find a way for Navy SEALs to train without shooting guns. Same thing with Green Berets. You know, it's just not possible, man. That's the name of the business. We're in the business of killing, and killing is not an easy game. In an interview with 12 former boat team leaders, all chiefs or senior chiefs, said the damage piles up almost unnoticed for years and then cascades, often around the time the sailors move into leadership roles. Rock-solid sailors like Mr. Nall become erratic, impulsive, and violent. Many develop alcohol problems, get arrested for bar fights or domestic violence, or become suicidal. One was charged with threatening to kill President Barack Obama. Okay, so listen, folks, like, I'm not sure why the Navy is shocked by this. Like, let's just apply good common sense, get these people on the treatment they need. We've seen this in the SEAL teams for years. 20 years of sustained combat. I mean, everybody was doing this, man. Like it shouldn't be surprised that a guy riding a boat getting concussed all the time is having the same problems as NFL players. I mean, look at Junior Seau. Junior Seau did exactly what this is saying. Over and over and over, high-performing guys spiral down and fall apart, said Robert Frederick, 44, retired senior chief who served in the teams from 2001 to 2023. It happened to me. It happened to most of my friends. When does it? When it does, they kick us out or force us to retire, but never address the real issue. So listen, folks, I'm going to say it again. Email me. I'll give you the brain PDF for free. Ain't nothing in it expensive. It's to help everybody with brain problems. So if you having mental health issues and you got a lot of combat, you got a lot of boat time, reach out. I'm telling you, I'm going to say it 1,000 times in this video because I want you to get help because I was in the same place you're in, and now I'm doing really good. Every boat crew veteran interviewed by the New York Times said they had seen the pattern play out repeatedly. Hey, guys, I want you to think about this. Anytime it says boats, sailors, I want you to insert NFL football players. That's all you got to do. Insert NFL football players, CTE, into this article. They write in the same articles about the NFL. It's unclear how many sailors have been injured. There's no public data from the Navy. Even if there were, no blood tests or brain scans exist to definitively detect in a living sailor the type of damage that an autopsy found in Mr. Nall. So there actually is a test, okay? If they do an MRI prior to your service and they do an MRI post-service, they can absolutely see it. That comes directly from the Cleveland Clinic, comes directly from a guy that runs the Green Beret Foundation. I know for a fact that they can take an MRI at the beginning of service and an MRI at the end, and they can absolutely identify CTE. Why won't they do that? Because probably 95% of the people have some form of CTE when they come out of the SEAL teams and boats, and they really don't want to pay that 100% disability. It's just how it is, folks. It's money. In a questionnaire sent to the boat team veterans by one retired chief, nearly all who replied, about 300, said they had experienced concussion symptoms from riding on the boats. Most were still experiencing symptoms years later. Nearly a quarter said they had been suicidal. Absolutely, man. Suicide is not a PTSD problem. Suicide is a brain health problem. It is a functional problem of your brain not being able to repair itself every night. And you get to the point where it gets so bad that you think life is not better than dying. So you take your own life, man. And I know that sounds pretty simple, but I've been in this game a long time, man. I've seen it repeat over and over and over. The widespread reports of injuries point to a problem with implications that go beyond one small specialized Navy unit. In its push for forever more powerful equipment, the Navy may have exceeded what human brains can handle. Okay, so let's be honest here, man. We talked about this. The boats are fast, yes, but nobody's riding in the ocean and not getting this problem, okay? The Pentagon has started to acknowledge that repeatedly firing weapons like howitzers, rocket launchers may cause serious injury to troops' brains, but the experience of the boat teams suggests that the problem may extend beyond blast exposure to include getting jolted and knocked about in high-performance vehicles. Okay, like I'm not sure what the disconnect is. We have all skiers, you got downhill bobsledders. They know what the concussive results are of small, high G maneuvers on your head. No different in a boat. Okay, that's a Mark V right there, man. They running a Mark V, probably about 45 miles an hour across the water, getting solid air, but the Mark Vs are kind of bigger, so that's not the speedboats they're talking about. Those are the Mark Vs. In other parts of the military, post-traumatic stress disorder from combat is often seen as a driving factor when top performers fall apart. In the boat teams, though, few sailors ever see combat. I'm going to agree with they don't see combat, but that boat don't care. Not knowing what else could be behind the epidemic of behavior issues, veterans said leaders have repeatedly blamed sailors themselves. Of course they have, right? They don't want to address no issues in the military. That soft skills in the military, we dealt with it for 25 years, is massively lacking. You know, you don't want to go in there and tell them you got a problem, because the first thing they're going to do is pull you off of active duty, put you on limb due, and now you can't operate. So, you know, everybody's been working on this. No one has a complete answer yet. In the interviews, a number of former senior chiefs said that at the point when they were promoted to positions overseeing critical missions, they were already stumbling over words, losing their trains of thought, and getting distracted by family lives that were falling apart. Okay, exactly what I said, man. I had 2018, I was at the University of Illinois, started having some real problems with memory and blurring my words and just struggling. I'm still having a little bit of problems now, but I went to Cleveland Clinic Functional Medicine Department. We did a deep dive. Me and a couple other guys were having the same problems. Did a massive deep dive into solutions, and it's all in the brain PDF for you. Check it out. Email me for it. I'll send it to you. The problem is we have dudes with brain injuries leading dudes with brain injuries. They are unable to fully comprehend what's going on, Mr. Frederick said. Okay, well, yeah, like that's how it works. Over and over and over, high-performing guys spiral and fall apart, said Robert Frederick, a boat crew veteran. It's just how it is, man. The Navy and the Defense Department have been tight-lipped about what they know. Yeah, they know what the problem is. The Defense Department Brain Lab found that CTE and Mr. Nall refused to say how many boat members' brains it has examined. Of course, they're not going to tell you what it has found in them. More than 70 current and former boat members have participated in the brain injury study at Tulane University, but the Navy and Tulane each declined to describe the findings. Okay, so listen, man, they know they got a problem. You're not breaking out no magic news. Boat guys got a problem, okay? Spokesman for Naval Special Warfare, who oversees the boat team, said in a written response, questions that the risk to the boat crews are well recognized, but would not address whether those risks include brain injury. Hey, man, listen. We know it includes brain damage, okay? We know it. The spokesman dispute that the leaders may be particularly affected, noting that they undergo extensive testing, are chosen for their sustained superior performance. Remember that age I told you, 42 years old, okay? That's the magic number where stuff stops healing. 2021, medical staff members at Naval Special Warfare started slipping a memorandum into crew members' files warning future medical providers that the crew members were subject to large shock and vibration forces and that their heads experienced sudden jerks of up to 64 Gs. 64. Fighter pilots typically experience a maximum of about 9 Gs, okay? So you're talking about a plane flying around, 9 Gs, okay? We're talking about micro force factors here. I mean, you can go look at the football numbers. Football offensive defensive linemen are sustaining 200 Gs on every play. A linebacker and a fullback collision could be as high as 500 Gs. So absolutely, and I'm going to tell you right now, those 66 Gs, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some big waves and some big bounces. Those guys are experiencing up to 150 G. That would be my guess, 150, 200 Gs. Haven't played defensive line and know what it feels like. I'm telling you, there's some times you're going to get banged around in the boat. The medical memorandum suggests that some in the Navy are concerned about the risk of brain damage. The Navy has made changes in recent years to improve detection and treatment of brain injuries. So listen, man, like they got a helmet. BMW built a helmet that tells you exactly how much G's they're going to take. You know what happened to the BMW helmet in downhill bobsledding? They got rid of it because they realized that cats was taking so many G's on a downhill sled ride that they didn't want to have to face the repercussions of why they were allowing the sport to continue. So they got a helmet out there, Navy, that'll fix, tell you exactly what they're getting. They got a bunch of devices, man. They just trying to skirt it a little bit. But Navy says operations have continued unchanged, and any lessons from the suicide deaths seem to have been missed. No one was asking what the hell is going on here, said Mr. Frederick, who was still in the teens when Mr. Nall and Mr. Carter died. It was just, that's tragedy. Now get back to the boats. Okay, so we've talked about the community There's not a lot of compassion in the SEAL teams, just how it is. The special boat teams were established in the late 80s to speed Navy SEALs to their target. The Navy's been using small patrol boats since World War II, but those boats topped out at about 30 miles an hour, and the crews serving on them usually stayed only a few years before moving on to other assignments. The new teams acquired high-powered racing boats, trained a new class of career operators known as Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewmen, or SWCC, who stayed for their entire careers. Okay, so that's a good point. Several former crew members said skipping over big waves, hitting faces of the ones next to them was like being in a repeated car crash. Absolutely. The first hit weakens you, and you are still trying to recover when the next one hits, said Steve Chance, who served in the first generation of boats in the 90s. You do that for hours, and it seems like someone worked you over with a pool cue. Sometimes you're slammed so hard that you have a headache for a week. I can attest to that. Riding in them boats will make you sick now. I've taken a lot of 8-hour-plus boat rides. It sucks. Almost immediately, crews started reporting high injury rates. 1994, Navy study put sensors on the boats and found that the crews were experiencing more than 120 whiplash events per hour. The force of the hits, the study said, was a challenge to human tolerances. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, 120 an hour, man. The Navy added better shock absorbers to the seats of some of the boats, but former sailors said that the wave hits with such force that those seats often broke. So the waves are hitting like we're hitting waves. Those are calm bumps right there, folks. Those are calm ones. They're hitting so hard that they're breaking seats. So you know we're dealing with a lot of impact. It was so violent, said Anthony Smith, who joined the boat teams in 1996 and rose to the rank of chief. You couldn't think straight, your back hurt, your neck hurt, and all the guys would have blood in their urine. Blood in their urine, okay? Them kidneys taking a beating. Telling you, man, them boat rides are no joke. Repeated jolts to the head can fray neurons over time, leading to impulsive decisions, violent reactions, depression, and psychosis. Sailors often saw the battering as part of the job and endured it without complaint, unaware of the long-term consequences. Okay, go back 10, 15 years in college football, NFL football, CTE was making an appearance. I mean, you pretty much can look at any business where you're getting rocked and you're going to have CTE. So 42 is at the age, oxygen doesn't regenerate your brain. The wave that washes out the tau proteins in your brain isn't strong enough to clean everything out. You start getting little buildups. Pretty soon you got a problem. But I'm telling you, you can fix it. You can definitely mitigate it. You can keep your brain healthy. I got the PDF for brain health. Just reach out to me, man. I'll email it to you. It's free. There ain't nothing on there that costs a lot of money. You can build a live O2 machine for about $300. That's the most expensive thing on the whole list. After 8 years on a boat, Mr. Smith developed an overwhelming sensation that he was existing outside his own body. He had crippling depression and panic attacks. In 2004, he had a seizure with convulsions so strong that his shoulder dislocated. Like many others, he was quietly retired from the Navy on medical grounds. All right, folks, I had to go hunting for some boat action, man. These are cigar boats racing. I want you to just watch. This is in Lake Michigan, not really crazy water, probably Sea State 1, not terrible, no huge swells like out in the ocean. But we're going to get a good little clip of what it looks like to be riding in a boat going very fast. Okay, right here. See how they're hitting them waves? Boom, you see them heads snapping around? Man, seems like a joyous boat ride on a Saturday afternoon. But I'm telling you, man, them little micro hits, they getting it. No one in the Navy ever said the words brain injury. The psychologist told me I was depressed because I didn't want to leave the Navy. Typical, man. They're going to say PTSD, all this other stuff is straight brain health, folks. Get it to your friends. Get it to the other sailors you know. It ain't got nothing to do with no depression, any of that stuff. It's got to do with your CTE and your brain health. Determined to learn whether others were having similar problems, Mr. Smith recently started sending a questionnaire, found that nearly all were reporting issues. The Navy introduced a new generation of boats about a decade ago in part to try to smooth out the ride. But what sailors said, the improved technology just allows crews to go faster, and slamming continued. I mean, you're in a boat in the ocean. Unless you build a hydrofoil of some kind, yeah, you really ain't going to get out of it. Right here on the left, you got a Mark V. That's the same boat right there, Mark V. That pounding is bad, but it ain't terrible because that boat's a lot bigger. I'm telling you, the 24-foot ribs are horrendous, and then the cigar boats they're running are going to be probably just as bad, man. They're a lot smaller, go a lot faster. One new model was a 2,500 horsepower, $11 million combatant craft medium. One of the first sailors to man it was Travis Carter, who died by suicide in 2021. Sailors said the boat performed well, but the pounding across the waves continued at faster speeds. We all got destroyed, said Mr. Frederick, the retired senior chief who worked with Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter's memory started to crumble, and his mood swings so violent that his wife thought he was bipolar. Okay? Just straight CTE, folks. He was racked by delusions and would boil with rage, smashing things in his house. Then activists, nothing happened. He was two completely different people. He was getting violent to the point where it was scary, his widow, Nicole Carter, said in an interview. Both teams pulled Mr. Carter from leadership position in 2021 because of his strange behavior. Though the military has a world-class brain injury clinic only a few miles from his base near San Diego, the boat teams didn't send him there because he was about to deploy for a fourth time. He died 5 days before he was due to leave. Folks, if someone is having a mental health problem in special operations, I'm going to tell you that 95% of the time, it has nothing to do with mental health. It has to do with brain health and brain functioning. So if you are out there and you hear this, go get these dudes some help, man. Once again, email me for the PDF. I'll send you the brain PDF. It's world class, man. It's about 5 years of functional medicine exposure and knowledge all put into a PDF. Everything in there you can go research on your own, do your own research. There's an awesome book in there called the Concussion Repair Manual. Folks, you can fix the problem, man. I'm just telling you, you can fix it. He knew there was something really, really wrong, but the Navy said they were going to deal with it when he got back, Mrs. Carter said. The medical examiner in San Diego sent Mr. Carter's brain to the Defense Department Brain Lab in 2001. This October, his family finally got a letter about the results. The letter was clear on what the lab had not found. No CTE, it said, but it was vague about whether the lab had found other damage, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, I would get that brain and I would send it for my own evaluation, Mrs. Carter, because there's no chance your husband didn't have CTE. There is no chance. All boat crew veterans interviewed by the New York Times said they repeatedly saw squared away sailors like Mr. Carter unravel as they climbed the ranks. Chiefs who once seemed flawless went blank during briefings, wrecked boats, or landed in jail. Yep, that's what happens, folks. Your brain can only take so much before it stops working. It is far too common to be a coincidence, said Kyle Zellhofer, who served 20 years in the Navy. I've seen it happen over and over. It happened to me. By the time Mr. Zellhofer reached the rank of chief in 2017, he was having headaches so debilitating that his vision would blur, and he was screaming at people, just as he had seen chiefs do before him. A shoving match with a master chief in 2019 led to a formal punishment and stalled his career. He transferred out of the boat teams and then retired from the Navy over the summer. It probably saved my life to get pushed out when I did. I've seen how others have ended up. If you're having thoughts of suicide, call 988 or reach out to the 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline. Go speak to suicide.com resources. So listen, man, problem's no different than the rest of special operations. It's a CTE, brain damage problem. You got to go out there and get help, man. I hope this article review helps one sailor out there, one soldier, one airman who's dealing with mental health problems post a gun/special operations career. Hey, listen, airborne guys are getting the same problems, man. Them hard hits on the runway, hard hits on landing, hard openings. You guys got the same problems. So if you're having mental health problems and you're somewhere between retirement and, 50 years old, I'm just telling you, your oxygen level is too low in your blood and it's causing problems with your brain's ability to repair itself every night. That's the facts. Hey, reach out if you got questions. I'm an open book. Had to deal with this in 2018 myself. I think I'm on top of it now. Hopefully y'all got something out of this bad boy.